All right. Let us start. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame bante buri panya tathagata kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame dhamma sanditika akalika kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamame sangha supatipana anuttara sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisarana gamanang paripunang panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Abrahmacharya veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Nacha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasana Malaganda Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatthana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Uchasayana Mahasayana Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Idang me silang Magapala Jnanasa Pachayo Hotu Appamadena sampadeta sa. We do some guided metta before we start the Dhamma talk. When we sit here to relax, I want you to relax the body. Let go of all the tension, tightness, tiredness, lethargy. Let the mind be open, calm, peaceful, and in the present. From top of the head, any tension, we let it go. To the forehead, face, neck and shoulders and the arms. To the chest area, to the stomach, to the back, spine, buttocks, hips, down to our thighs, knees, calves, ankles, soles. So relax the whole body. May I be free. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well. May I truly be happy. May I be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May I be peaceful. May I be well and healthy. And may I truly be happy. Now let us spread the metta further. Spread the metta to all the people around here, to the beings seen or unseen, to the monks and nuns, to the fellow yogis, helpers, volunteers, devotees, donors, to all the guardian devas of this place, to all other devas residing here, to all the unfortunate beings, and also to all the animals, big or small, seen or unseen. May all of us here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. May they all be healthy. And may all beings here truly be happy. May all of us here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May we all be peaceful, be well, and may we all truly be happy. Now let us expand further. Let us expand the metta to all beings in this country. Humans or non-humans, devas or petas, animals big or small, seen or unseen, far or near. May all of us here be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be well, be peaceful, and may all beings in this country, may they all truly be happy. May all beings in this country be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Let us expand further. Let us expand our goodwill with thoughts to all the beings in this world. May they be our loved ones, near or far away. May they be those whom we do not know wherever they are in this world. Or to those whom we dislike or those who dislike us. To all the guardian devas of the sasana. To all other devas residing in this world. To all the unfortunate beings. And to all the animals, big or small, far or near, seen or unseen. May all beings without exception, may they all be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May all beings in this world able to live in peace and not in war. Live with kindness and compassion and not in cruelty or violence. May all beings be well. May they all be happy. And may all beings truly be peaceful. May all beings be free from all kinds of harm and danger. Free from all mental suffering. Free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Now let us spread further. Let us spread further as far as the metta can go, as far as the imagination can go. To all beings in this universe or universes, to all beings from the highest planes of existence down to the lowest planes of existence, to all beings from all the world systems. May all beings be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all able to live in harmony with themselves and with others. May all beings without exception, may they all be well, healthy, and may they all truly be happy. May all beings without exception be free from all kinds of harm and danger, free from all mental suffering, free from all physical suffering. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May they all be well. And may all beings truly be happy. Now let us let go of the metta. Bring our attention back again to the body. Feel the rise and fall of the abdomen. Feel the sensation of the body being here and now. Then we can slowly open our eyes. Okay. So yesterday we talked about that mindfulness as a fact of enlightenment. Yeah. So yesterday I talked about that mindfulness as being here and now. The one that we are going to use it more often than not is the present state of mind. Not just only on the worldly sense, in the sense of trying to remember something of the past, but in the sense of practice, it is the crucial part is the present states of mind. Now, when we have that present state of mind, it's just not only any present state of mind, it has to be a heightened present state of mind. It's a heightened consciousness or heightened awareness. Then when it's heightened up, then the mind becomes clear. The clarity begins to develop. Then with that also, as the mindfulness begins to develop, then what actually it does inside there, as the mindfulness, it goes near to the object. It brings the whole mind near to the object. Then when it is near to the object, all the rest of other mental states will begin to scrutinize or work upon that particular object at that particular moment. So with that, the mind stays with the object, goes near with the object, then it becomes, things, other words, the object becomes magnified. The object becomes magnified. That's why your objects becomes clearer. If your mindfulness is not strong, no matter how strong the object is, it's going to be difficult for you to bear, especially like the pain, like first few days where you will go through, or in the beginner stage that we have to go through a lot. When the mindfulness begins to become stronger, then your rising and falling also become clearer. No matter how shallow your rising and falling or your breath is, it becomes clear to you too. It also becomes clear. But then this stomach, this rising and falling, there's always changes. It fluctuates. Sometimes the clarity is very strong. Sometimes it dip a little bit, not so clear. Then it becomes clear again, not so clear. Things change. But nevertheless, objects becomes quite clear to the yogis as the mindfulness picks up. Then as the mindfulness also, when it picks up, automatically also, it guards the mind. It protects the mind from getting distracted into all kinds of other objects like your hearing or smelling or seeing or thinking or distracted from it. Yeah? Then when it's not distracted, then the mind can stay onto the presentness of the object, with the object. So in that sense also, then other words, your sila, your morality or your discipline becomes much more established too. Yeah? Because that time when the mindfulness is there, you're not so lazy. You're not so wanting to look things here and there. Yeah? The mind stays onto the meditation, which is wonderful actually. Yeah? So this is something that we talked about yesterday. Yeah. Now over the days also, over the coming days or weeks or so, more of more often than not, I will still come back to the mindfulness. But in other ways, we still have to come back because these are the fundamentals that we have to arouse and develop and to sustain too. Uh, so as I yesterday also I mentioned that the mindfulness that we arouse. So after we know how to arouse it, we also must know how to sustain it as long as possible. But mindfulness, as comparatively, and just like everything else, they are all come and go. They come for a while, they disappear. In the beginning part, it just come for a short while, it disappear a lot. Uh, then, as you begin to develop, meditate, then it comes more often. It also still disappear, but it come more often. There becomes a time that when the development is good, even when the moment that you sit down, you're ready to meditate, then whole hour, the mind doesn't get distracted, fully noticing on the object. Yeah, yogis could do that here and everywhere. Yeah. It's all about training. It's all about development, progress. And it can be done. It just takes time and effort. So, when we're able to do that, then it's wonderful. Now, mindfulness also has got its different other characteristics, which is you'll see those things more when the progress of the meditation starts to build up. In the beginning part, it's not so clear. It's not so clear yet. It's there, it's already working, it's already doing everything for you. But you may not able to notice it that clearly. Now, one of the areas of mindfulness, what we'll do is to help the mind to become flexible. It helps the mind to become flexible, pliable. Not one track mind. See what? One track mind. The mind is flexible. Other words, other words, what I mean by flexible of the mind is this. When we do vipassana meditation, we are not taking up one object. We take up primary object, yes. The primary object for the sitting meditation is the rising and falling. Every time you don't have all this object, you go back to your rising and falling and you try to look for it. When some other object become more prominent, like your pain become more prominent, you go to that object and you pay attention to it. So too, like your heat that arises or the itchiness arises, if they becomes clear, you pay attention to them. You let go of the rising and falling. Okay, but how does the mind goes from one object to another object? Then that is again, in a way, the mindfulness helps to become more, let it become more flexible. That it becomes flexible, it can able to shift over there. Then when it shifts to the next object, the mind becomes able to note the object, scrutinize that particular object, and to see what is going on with the object. And then if that particular heat slowly disappear, not so prominent anymore, then it comes back to the uh, stomach again and notice the rising and falling. I notice the rising and falling. So then that happens, that means that the mind is quite flexible. The mind quite flexible. So too, so too when a progress starts to begin to develop further, the flexibility of the mind is even more prominent. That sometimes you may not able to stay in a single object for even like a few seconds. That it's already changed from that particular object, it changed to a next object. And the next object also stays with for few seconds. And then the next object, few seconds here, few seconds there. But you're still progressing. The mindfulness is still continuous. It's just that it's different object, right? It's still continuous. Because you are staying with the different objects that's happening as if sometimes like simultaneously happening together. So why does the mind can able to note these things? Because again, it's the nature of the mindfulness. It's the nature of the mindfulness that it helps another quality of the mind to make those mind become flexible, pliable in that sense, that it can move from one object to another next object. If you come to a time and you meditate, then you notice that you watch your rising and falling. Some people have that habit. Some people, some yogis, they have the habit of like when you take up rising and falling, they only one rising and falling. So what they do is that they they really put the whole effort inside there and they try to grip the mind onto the object and they don't want to look at any other things. Because this one, again here, it's most people will think of meditation is taking up an object. And this is very much to do with samatha practice. So very much to do with samatha practice. We thought that when we meditate, this come to this meditation, it's like just like any other meditation that we just take up one object and that's it. That's where it's all go wrong, go haywire. Yeah? When a yogi does that, when a yogi does that, then the problem is that in the beginning part, you think that you see some progress, you just kind of like the rising and falling become clearer. Yes, in the beginning part, yes. But because of that you are doing it, then it develops into a habit, mental habit. Then that's where it becomes getting worse. Because of that mental habit, the mind becomes to cram and cram and cram and cram and cram and cram and cram until you get so stressed out. All kinds of pain and all kinds of everything. Sometimes like pain, yes. They don't want to see the pain. They want to watch the rising and falling. The pain like, oh my, wait, rising, falling first, rising, falling first. Pain, the one rising, falling first, rising, falling first. Then when they do like that, you put a lot of mental energy, mental force inside there. You nge tahan, that can be a problem, because they cannot accept the pain because they know after a few sitting they gone through look at pain and the pain become cannot tahan. That is one thing because that the mind becomes not flexible. It becomes very stiffened up in the long period, in the long process. It becomes very stiffened up. Then every now and then after you don't realize that you have stiffened up that mind. You go to a meditation. How come every time you meditate, the mind all get cramped up, it all gets stressed out? No, everything cannot work, cannot function. Uh, and then some people get all this type of uh, stone in the head syndrome. Oh, all the heaviness and all the tension, Then they have to take Panadol. If not Panadol, then higher one, stronger one. What is that? Huh? What is I know some people Panadol doesn't work anymore. They have to take all this ibuprofen or what. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to see it. They have to go and see doctors and all for it. They overdo the whole thing. But I've seen this thing before. Yeah, I've seen these things before in the past. That yogis go back there, they really break down, not in the sense of crying, but totally give up on meditation. Yeah. So don't do that. No, don't do that. So when the object's more clearer, more prominent onto the next object, then go to that object. Pay attention to it. Yeah. So the flexibility, it's a very helpful, it's a very helpful characteristic. As the mindfulness develops, it makes the mind very flexible from one object to another object. Yeah. In fact, that like in the walking meditation, yeah, in the walking meditation, although we are moving from one object to another object. In other words, even in the lifting, pushing, dropping, it's a three different objects. And also we move from left leg to the right, left, right, left, right. Also, in that sense also. So in this time also, the mind also in a way it helps the mind to be flexible. Yeah, it helps the mind to be flexible. Which is also is good actually. Yeah, when you do that. Then later part, as we begin to become more master in the walking meditation, then there are other parts of the body also becomes more prominent. Yeah? And also that time you can begin to pick up. But in the beginning of walking meditation, it is good that we learn the primary object first. Take up the primary object, which is the movement of the lifting, pushing, dropping, or right step, left step, or lifting, or lifting, dropping, first phase, second phase, third phase. Those are your primary objects. Then later part, as we become more skillful, the secondary object also has to be noted. That is to say, the upper part of the body too. But in the meantime, if you are a beginner, it's always good that we learn to master the lifting, pushing, dropping, or the primary object first. Slowly, it's like learning how to juggle the ball, three ball. First, you juggle one ball first, learn to catch the ball first. Then after that, you give you two ball, you learn to juggle. And then better you give you three ball, one floating in the air, something like that, Then four, and then five, and then six, and then 100. Something like that. So it's all about training on it. The more that you train, the more the mind become more flexible. As it become more flexible, the mindfulness grow. As the mindfulness grow, you develop further. Right? Then what else? Now, mindfulness also, this one again, in the beginning part of the meditation, you don't see it that often. It's already working for you. Yeah? One of the part is that it helps to balance the mind. When they say the balance the mind, means balance the noting mind, the mind that pays attention to the object of your meditation. That is called the noting mind. Now, inside the noting mind, there's not just only mindfulness, there's a number of things. Just like yesterday, I talked about the 7 factors of enlightenment, that we have the mindfulness, investigation of Dhamma. Then what else? You tell me. tranquility, effort, some more, equanimity, joy, what else? Concentration, investigation of Dhamma. Oh, you're simply thorough lah. As long as you're not out of it, can yeah? But in the 7 factors of enlightenment, there's a purpose why it's put it in that way. Yeah? Start off with mindfulness first, then you have investigation of Dhamma, then you have effort, then you have joy, then you have joy, then you have tranquility, then you have concentration, you have equanimity. Yeah. So the first one, which is the mindfulness, that mindfulness, it stands on its own. The more the mindfulness, the better. The more the vitamin M, the better. Here we interpret vitamin M is mindfulness. Outside you interpret differently, which also is good. Not to say it's bad, but that comes with a lot of greed. Here it comes with the more mindfulness, it becomes less greed. So the more it is better. But I cannot say for the other 6. Yeah. The other 6, you have to balance them. Okay? Investigation of Dhamma, effort, and joy. These 3 belongs what we call to the effort group. The energetic group. Energetic group. Whereas the next 3, which is the tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, this belongs to a calm group, samadhi group, more of a calm or samadhi group. Now here the calm and the effort now has to be in a way, has to be balanced. If you're meditate, after if you become too much, let's say a lot of energy, then your mind will goes into what? Sleep. Go into a lot of thinking, not sleep. Just like at night, you cannot sleep. Keep on thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Think, then everybody wake up, you only want to fall asleep. Energy, mental energy, that one also needs to be balanced. But we'll talk about this balancing. Later later in maybe a week or 2 or 3 to come I don't know If it's too much, then you cannot meditate also. You don't put in enough effort, also you cannot meditate. You cannot go further. You go too much, then it be a lot of thinking, not only a lot of thinking, there's a lot of tension, a lot of headache, a lot of all kinds of things. Again, it end up with Panadol, end up with seeing a doctor. That bad now. Then on the other hand, on the calm side, also another problem. If you become too calm in your meditation, too calm means that you meditate until everything nothing already. You just sit there. So song. If you happen like that to you in Vipassana, then something wrong already. Something is very wrong already. Then sometimes people have the habit to meditate because again, they follow their own thinking or their own method of meditation. Then with that sitting, they go into rising, falling, sitting, touching, pain. Pain also nothing. Pain also nothing. Calm everything. Everything is calm and then something is very wrong with the meditation. Very wrong already. Yeah. And again, that one, people can get attached to it and you desire it. Every sitting you'll be looking for it. And then when you look for it, you don't want all this rising, falling, right? pain, in breath, out breath, everything you tak mau already. You only what you want? You want to calm. Pleasant ma? Very nice. Nice car, you go until what will happen to you if you cannot let go? You wouldn't want to listen to the teachers anymore. First of all, you want that calmness, that peacefulness every time you come and meditate. You don't want to go into a retreat anymore. After all, you can achieve that calm already. After all, then you meditate in that way for the next 10 years, 20 years. Then next 10 years, 20 years, then you're neither here nor there. Then you realize that you're not going anywhere. As I said, 10 years, 20 years, we don't have that much. How many of you have 10 years or 20 years? Maybe the younger ones, hopefully, all this old. Don't make that mistake. I've seen people make those mistakes. Then only they realize it so long. Then only they start to become urgent. The sense of urgency starts to come in. So that one also it is calm, but it's not enlightenment. It's not the factors of enlightenment anymore. As a factor of enlightenment, those three things, it helps to keep the mind not distracted. It keeps the mind not go into too much thinking. Even in your pain also, there's calmness and clarity is there. That is to say, when you note your pain, you observe how the pain is changing or it's getting more and less, and yet the mind is steady. The mind is steady. Not that, oh, you see, don't know whether my pain is going to hurt my leg or not, whether my pain is going to make me cripple or not, whether my pain is going to block that blood vessel or not. That is because the equanimity of the mind is not there anymore. Equanimity of the mind, when it comes in, for example, it comes in, it notes the pain, and yet your mind is steady, not going into all kinds of thinking. So, other words, if you cannot achieve that yet, that means there's still a lot to do. Sometimes the pain come in, what do? Are you liao? How come the clock not ringing yet? Last time here we have the clock 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes it chimes. So the yogi, like myself also, I'm waiting for that 15-minute block. Half an hour already. Then wait for that 45 minutes. Wait. Wow, 45. Could wait for another 15 minutes. See whether can or not. Then with the 15-minute one, because it chimes so many times per day, sometimes you meditate also, you can hear the chime. You do not know whether this is real one or imagine. You imagine one, it rings so much until when you stay long into it, really it's into your imagination, and it kind of like stay there, tattoo inside there. So that's why I put all this 15 minutes clock aside. 1 hour is enough already. Anyway, so the balancing is something like that. You still have balance even when the object is very challenging, difficult. Even there's itchiness, is strong itchiness, the mind can still note onto it without going into a lot of all this aversion or anger. The mind can still observe it. That means there is equanimity, there is tranquility, there's balance there. And yet at the same time, it notices what is going on with the pain. It scrutinizes the pain as whether it's getting stronger, getting more, getting less. But then that means there's investigation of the object of the Dhamma is there. That you pay attention to what is going on. So while you're paying attention to it, these factors of enlightenment is working on its own, this one. But as I said, this is to give you some theory, all right? But what is important is that if you have mindfulness, if your mindfulness starts to come in, you start paying attention to your object, all those things will slowly fall into places. So don't worry, you have to develop the certain individual ones. Yeah? So not to worry. So the more the mindfulness you have, the mind becomes stronger, the mind becomes steadier, the mind becomes more penetrative. All those things comes together. Okay? Uh, so that is one function of mindfulness in the sense that it balances the whole noting mind together. On the other hand, mindfulness also knows that when you become imbalanced, okay, it's not only you are balanced, but also when the mind becomes imbalanced, also the mindfulness is the one who can check on it that this is imbalanced state of mind. Because when the mind gets imbalanced, it also happens in the present moment, right? So anything that happens in that present moment, the mindfulness can see itself or can see it's the state of that mind. So when it sees the state of that mind, then that time the mind knows that, hey, too much energy already, too much energy. Then you know, too much energy, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. Distracted, 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 distracted. It knows itself also. Uh, so not only help you to balance, but it also begin to detect that it is imbalance. Then when it detect it imbalance, it bring it back to the balance level, to its optimal level. Okay, there's two function of it now. Although it looks quite simple, but actually there's two things. Uh, so that is how mindfulness works when we go into the deeper aspect of meditation. In the beginning part, we don't have to worry about all this balancing yet because you got nothing to balance yet. what what you have become so sleepy? That means effort not enough. You meditate on the pain, ayo. That means concentration or equanimity, everything not enough. So don't worry yet. So in the beginning part, we let us build up on the mindfulness first. The more that you build up, after a week or two, then things have becomes different already. My talk during that time also becomes different too. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes in the beginning, for example, some yogis, I mean, they are really energetic, Wow. Now I gave up my job already. Good. So I nge already. That's one thing. Or Pande, I'm old already. I must really go for a retreat already. Then, wow, mentally you come with that charge. And then, or you come in with, wow, very rare occasion we're going to get this meditation anymore. We do not know the next lockdown to come in, next COVID, next this thing, maybe I'll die, must go already. Yeah, So you have that attitude, yeah, which is very good. It's wonderful. So you do with that attitude now, you push, 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 push. But then you forgot to relax. After a week also you can push go. After 2 weeks also push go. Push until you go 爆炸. yeah. Especially teaching Chinese. Chinese have this mentality. They push and push and push and push. You must learn how to balance. Not all the time you can push. Sometimes you need to relax. Sometimes you need to push. But in the beginning part, you need to push so that it can come to at least a clear level. It's like you have to push until it come to a cruising level, like an aeroplane. You have to from runway, you have to push and then all the way fly through all the clouds and then go further at 35,000 feet and it starts to cruise. So something like that, we need to go and keep on pushing, and then after that, we need learn to keep cruising. That part of the cruising part, then we need to learn to balance also. And then here again, there's a different set of skills coming in already. You stay in a longer retreat, We'll talk about it. If you got 10 days only, 2 weeks only, before you want to do that, you already bante, bye-bye. You don't have that time because you haven't come to that level yet. So my job is to make sure that you come to that level. Then it's another set of skills that we can talk about. It's a deeper aspect of meditation. At that time, we really need to use that mindfulness. You really need to know what is mindfulness in order to really balance the whole state of mind. Okay, this is only a prelude to akan datang, what I'm going to talk in the future. Yeah. Uh, so, so these things, this is important. This is another skill altogether. Yeah. So therefore, mindfulness helps to balance. It balance, and also it helps to bring back the balance. Yeah. So the more mindfulness you have, the better it is. The more mindfulness you have, the more the mind stays in the balance. So much so that it stays in the balance that if your sleepiness comes in, it immediately knows the sleepiness is there already. If there's a distracted thought coming in, you already, before you want to arise, the mindfulness already catch hold of it already. Now you can. Now cannot. Now you sleep together with it. Sleep. The sleepiness comes. Gone. If I give you a mattress there, you straight away you lie down there. Cannot right now. Why? Because the mindfulness not strong enough. So build it up day after day, moment after moment. Keep it building it up. Next thing. Next thing is on the arousing of that mindfulness. Now, in the text, in the commentary, when you want to, it says that when you want to arouse mindfulness, or the condition, the immediate condition for mindfulness to arise is what we call a prominent object. It means at that moment of time, it is clear to you, a prominent object. Okay? That's what mentioned in the text, But if you don't understand the way of vipassana, then it's only in theory only. During in the meditation, prominent object can take place in a different level. So every time when you meditate, whether you're walking, sitting, or in the daily activities, you take up an object which is clear to you. If it's not clear to you, you put it aside. Whatever is clear to you at that moment of time, then you pay attention to it. Then mindfulness comes in. Okay? Now, in the beginning part, the prominency of an object, it means that you have to look for something which is clear to you at your level. After all, there's not much mindfulness yet, right? There's not much mindfulness. It's there, it's there. It's in a little here and there. So we're going to make that little spark into a little fire. So what do? Then what is prominent to you? Walking meditation is prominent to you, right? The sensation of the lifting, pushing, dropping, it is prominent to you. Sensation of standing, prominent to you. And sometimes you notice the intention to walk, those are prominent to you in a certain sense. So when you notice these things, then it helps for the mindfulness to come in. We use the body because when it's clear, then mindfulness arises. Not because we purposely must use the body, but because the body is a very prominent object comparatively to the mental object. Not that the mental object is wrong, but in the beginning part, we take a clearer object so that your mindfulness can be aroused, not only aroused, but it also can be sustained. Because sustainer means that every moment it's prominent, 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 prominent. Then the mindfulness sustain, uh, uh, become continuous. So you keep noticing what is clear to you. That is to say, your walking meditation is very clear to you, very helpful to arouse the mindfulness in the beginning of the development of this vipassana. Uh, in the sitting, rising and falling may not be so clear. Sometimes they are shallow. A lot of times they are not there. What is clear to you sometimes maybe the heat can be quite clear to you, especially right now. The heat can be clear. So pay attention to the heat. Not hot, 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 warm, 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 because it is prominent to you. And then notice. Uh, don't, if you start thinking about the fan, how should I put the fan stronger? Should I go and sit a different place and so on? That time you get distracted already. You're not paying attention to your object. So if you start paying attention to your object instead of thinking of all kinds of things, then stay with it. Mindfulness arises because that time that object is prominent to you. Okay. Now, if rising and falling comes in for a short while, it comes rising and falling. It's prominent to you at that moment. Pay attention to it. See how long, short, fast, or slow. Uh, if it comes a later part when there is a pain arises, pain is so prominent that you don't want to look for it, it will look for you. Right? Rising, falling is like you're going to have a look. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Trouble, Pain, you don't want, but it right at the face. So when it's right at the face there, you cannot run away from it. So pay attention to it. So scrutinize it, watch it how it grows, whether what type of pain, strong pain, pulling pain, hard pain, soft pain. Label it again and again. Uh, then when it is not, let's say the pain subsides and it subsides, it's not so painful anymore, then other objects becomes more prominent, more clearer. Then go to that object, notice that object rising, falling, so and so forth. Then because of that, it helps the mindfulness starts to grow. Okay. So too the same thing sometimes in the walking meditation. Sometimes we walk, lifting, pushing. Sometimes we step one leg is down, but we feel the other leg more clearer. Here step down. We thought that we are supposed to feel this leg, but then this leg become more clearer. So how? Can or not? Can. It's only a leg only. So can, because it's become prominent. Don't worry about the step right now. It become prominent here, pay attention to it here. Let's say once in a while, your right step, left step, right? Then you feel there's a tightness of the muscle, a bit of tightness at the calf there. Then learn to accept it. Learn to accept it and watch it also. You acknowledge that there's a tightness there. There's a tightness at the calf or at the thighs there. Acknowledge it, aware of it. Sometimes you can pay attention to it for a while because it's a prominent object. Let's say if it doesn't change so much, not so prominent anymore, then you can always bring down to your right step, left step, lifting, pushing, dropping. So in that way, there's a continuity of mindfulness too. So because it's prominent, it helps to arouse that mindfulness further. Okay. Uh, so when one object is not clear, the other object is clear. Then you go to the other object. All right. Simple. But Both objects can be clear, but one is clearer than the other object. So what do? Again, you go to the clearer object. Sometimes you notice the rising and falling is very clear to you. Wow, pee pee pop up. It go very nicely, very smoothly. But then the pain at the background, ban already, come. You know that it's coming. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. And as it comes to a certain point that rising and falling and the pain, it's similar. Uh, you still notice this one. You put this one aside first. Never mind. No problem because the object is still there for you. But then this thing is going to go stronger. You still got rising and falling. But this one is stronger already. Okay, look quite. Let go of this rising and falling. And then you go to the pain now. Even you still got the rising and falling. So why? Because again, prominency of an object. Again, because of that, sometimes certain yogis they just want to stay with the rising and falling, no matter how painful. That you got to be careful. Then you end up with a lot of tension and a lot of other problems. Okay, so the prominency of an object. The next type of prominency of an object is that the duration of the prominency it's short. It's not as long as before. In the beginning of practice, you may take up an object, for example, rising, falling, rising and falling, rising, falling, rising. Oh, it's quite, you can watch it for a few minutes or 5 minutes or even 5 minutes is considered very good. You can notice it without getting or a little bit distraction and so on. So more or less you can able to notice it. Quite good, in that sense. But as you progress on, sometimes on a certain level of development, the object, the duration of the noting at a single object may not last even like a few seconds. Maybe it's just maybe like 5 seconds. You notice rising, falling, next object arises already. Then you notice that particular object, it is clear, and you notice that, for example, it's an itchiness there. Then you notice it very short while, it disappears. Then after that, another sensation arises. Then you notice that the next sensation. Then after that, hearing arises. Hearing. Then it disappears. Then another object. Then as if like mind are very boring one, very busy one. You run here, run there, run here, run there, up and down, here, pain rising, falling, tita, tata. Then sometimes yogis thought that it cannot be how the mind can run so. Then how to note, how to progress like that? But that is the nature of vipassana. Vipassana doesn't mean stay in one object. Vipassana, we go by the flow. As the object become prominent, you watch it. And sometimes it gets the duration very short. So within like a few minutes, you notice so many objects already passing through, coming, going, passing here, going there. So you may think that how to progress like that? But that is the progress itself. Because slowly, it's going to bring you to see what is truly anicca. Then only we start thinking, what is anicca? It's like a bin tao cheng already, and yet you still question it. So prominency of an object can be very different. So keep that in mind. Sometimes even in the beginning part of the meditation, the object changes quite fast. There's also in others tradition of vipassana, which I don't agree on it too much because of, not to say that they are teaching wrong things, they are still teaching the right things, but except on the nature of prominency of an object. They teach mindfulness, yes. They teach pay attention to the four foundation of object, yes. I agree with those things. But when it comes to prominency and object, what they do is that sometimes is this. Like, for example, they want the yogis to pay attention to the mind. Okay? Pay attention to the mind in the sense that if you know your Abhidhamma, let's say, there are 52 mental factors of the mind. One of the 52 is mindfulness. Concentration also involved into it. Joy also involved. And so on. You got 52 mental states. So you ask a new yogi, you ask a new yogi, go and meditate, sit there. Now, go and look for your concentration. Which part of your mind is the concentration? Then after that, you must look for the next factor, the factor of perception. Then after that, you must look for the next factor. After that, you must look for the next factor. After that, look for the next factor. Because it's mentioned in the book, because it's mentioned in the book, then sometimes the tradition is that you have to know, the yogi have to know all of them. So here is where I disagree, because here is where object is not prominent to the yogi, although it is in the mind itself. In all of us, we have those things, but it's at that moment that those objects are not prominent to the yogi. If it's not prominent to your yogi, you can look for it. Mindfulness, bo? Then bo lah. You think you become more pandai only. You think you know about the Dhamma better, but actually it's all theoretical in here. You're not truly developing on that area. When it's prominent, only you take it up. So that's why in the beginning part, the mental states, they are not so, they are very difficult and subtle for us to catch. Catch the body first. Catch the painful feelings, those feelings first, because they are prominent. Then also there's another type when it comes to the body sensations or the body feelings. So what they do is that sometimes in a certain tradition, again, they go through inch by inch of your body, part of your body. So you notice here, 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 notice here. Or from your head, you notice, 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 notice. Whether there is feeling or no feeling, you must pay attention to it systematically. Move, 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 move. Because to them, again, they falls into, they says that, again in the Abhidhamma, it says that feelings manifest all the time to the person. There's always feelings there, either painful, pleasant, or neutral feelings. So even neutral feeling is feelings. But again, here, neutral feelings, they are not prominent object to the beginner yogis. So if you go and look again from one part to another part, even the sensation is not clear or the feelings are not clear, you go and stay there. When it's not prominent, then there's not much of mindfulness, is there? You only force the mind to stay there on you. So again here, the principle of this method now, or what we do this, is that whenever the object is prominent, you go to notice the object. And when you notice the object becomes clear to you. And therefore, mindfulness develops. Okay? So this is what we meant by the prominency of an object. So next time, when the object is clear to you, pay attention to it. Sooner or later, the thinking mind and this one, we'll talk about that in another day. Because those objects, sooner or later, they'll become prominent to you. Okay? So we'll stop here for tonight. Tomorrow night, we don't have Dhamma talk. No interview also. We'll continue the Dhamma talk on Monday night. Whether interview on Monday, we'll see lah. If the list is up, then we'll interview. No list up, then no need interview. Yeah? All right. Either Monday or Tuesday only the interview. Monday or Tuesday. Okay, we share merits. Idang me bawanang nibbana sa pachayo hotu. May my mental cultivation be a condition for the realization of Nibbana. Imang no punya bagang sabba sattanang dema. We share these merits with our departed ones, with all beings and all the devas. Sape satta sukhi hontu anumodantu. May all beings be happy. May they rejoice in these merits. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.